Hello and welcome to Higher or Lower, the football preview show brought to you by oddschecker, SpreadX and Sporting Index, where we look ahead to the weekend's fixtures in the Championship and in the Premier League. We take the midpoint with the markets with Sporting Index and SpreadX, and we say if we think they will go higher or lower. I was about to say I haven't got my bats, but here they are. They're here, so everything's okay. I am your host, George Elek, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jack Wright and Dan Worth, who, we all got 5 last week, didn't we?
Yeah, kept it nice and friendly, didn't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. It's a huge weekend of sport this weekend. We have the Grand National. Who wins the Grand National?
I don't know.
Correct Rambler.
Too
Correct
short.
Rambler.
Yeah.
Delta Work.
Yeah, possibly.
And the Masters. Who wins the Masters?
Scheffler.
Corey Connors.
Corey Connors. Xander Schauffele. Well, I mean, I kind of think Scheffler probably will if he putts well. But yeah, so amazing stuff in golf and in horse racing. If you go on the SpreadX or Sporting Index website or on oddschecker, you can find all the details you need around those. You won't find any stats necessary for WhoScored there.
No, not a WhoScored thing.
WhoScored have got XG now. They haven't got strokes gained, sadly. That might be coming. But make sure you check all of those out. But this isn't a golf show. It's not a racing show. It is a football show. And we are going to kick off in the Championship, Friday night football, a huge game. This one, both at the top and the bottom of the table. There's an almighty scrap at the bottom of the Championship to see who will get relegated to League One. Plymouth Argyle are involved within that, 4 points in the last 2 games though. And they host Leicester, the team who are trying to win the league, who look like they kind of stuttered against Millwall.
Yes.
And then Leeds and Ipswich kind of did them a favour by just drawing. So they only dropped 1 point in that almighty tussle to get back into the Premier League and also to win the division. We're looking at the supremacy market here. This is the amount of goals that the favourite will beat the underdog by. Leicester, unsurprisingly, favourites with SpreadX. 1.2 is the midpoint, so the sell price is 1.1. The buy price is 1.3. So, Leicester favourites. If you're going lower here, you think Leicester to win by a solitary goal, a draw, or an Argyle win. Higher would be Leicester to win by 2 or more. 3, 2, 1.
Full house.
But, Jack, Plymouth are rubbish. Aren't they?
Aren't they?
Maybe they're not.
Maybe they're not. Maybe not. And maybe Leicester's just having the wobbles at this moment in time. Who does want to win the title? Who does want to get automatic promotion?
Well, the thing is, I'm not sure. I get obsessed with who wins the title, partly because of betting reasons, outright reasons, partly because we do 1 to 24s at the beginning of the season, and it's very important to my soul. Having got the last 4 right, I want to get the last 5 right, and I have Leeds. We had Leeds this year.
Right.
But you kind of forget that you talk to Leeds fans, Leicester fans, and Ipswich fans. I don't think they're even thinking about the title. It's all about we just got to get promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is very true. Very true.
Thank
you. So, who's going to do it? I don't know. But for me here, that 1.2 is that 0.2 is the crucial part. I think never an easy place to go. Plymouth, despite a turbulent season for them. Several managers in and out the door. They have had a generally strong home record. So although they've gone 7 games without a victory, they have covered this line in the last 3, and only 5 of their 21 have gone higher. So I just feel this could be a little bit tight and cagey. I just feel that Leicester, the pressure of where they're at the season at the moment, might just have a little bit of a bearing on how they perform here. We've seen it, so the defeat at Millwall recently. They've lost their last 2 away from home, haven't they, as well? So, first goal I think will be crucial in this one. Generally, looking across the stats, Leicester then go on and win quite well if they get that first goal, and Plymouth struggle to come back from a goal down. So, here for me, Leicester haven't crossed higher than this supremacy line in any of their last 6 road trips. So I just feel that trend is likely to continue. A draw wouldn't surprise me. A narrow Leicester win wouldn't surprise me. But I'm happy to go lower.
Yeah. Also, the change of manager at Plymouth Argyle seems to have had a real impact. Ian Foster was let go after a reign that started okay, but at the end it feels like, in terms of the fan base, he completely lost them and even the playing staff, and a lot of rumours around what was going on at Argyle under Foster, that maybe he, rather than trying to continue the great work that Stephen Schumacher had done, he was trying to very much stamp his own mark on it, and it didn't work very well. Neil Dewsnip comes in, who is sporting director, who brought in Schumacher and Lowe, who was caretaker manager between the two. Definitely like the continuity candidate in terms of being the caretaker. And the first two performances have been okay. Like they beat Rotherham 1-0 away from home. They probably deserved to win that game more than just by the solitary goal. And then last time out against QPR, they were okay again, no better than that. But
could be a huge point that.
It could be a massive point. And I think coming into this at home, I'd be surprised if Leicester wiped the floor with them, which is kind of what you're looking for if you're going higher. So, no surprise if Leicester do win by the solitary goal, but they're not playing great right now. How do you see it?
Well, us three agree it's lower. There's probably about 106 reasons why this would be lower. Maybe.
Nice. Okay. Is that why?
Yeah, it's in their heads.
But is it even possible? I mean, is it still on?
No, that's why I brought it up.
Oh, right. So it's done.
Impossible for anyone to beat the record.
Right, so now you should be going higher, shouldn't you?
No, I think, particularly the away form of Leicester that you mentioned is not very convincing. One win in their last 5 on the road. Again, the point 2 is massive, as Jack mentioned. Not only that, you get the 1-0 win, you get the draw, you get Plymouth. It just seems like the right play. And as you mentioned as well, with lots to play for, it kind of screams cagey to me.
Yeah.
Over the course of the season, Dewsnip's had a good record, hasn't he? Because that interim...
the games were crazy when he first came in.
They were. A lot of draws in there. I think Southampton was the only defeat, and that was by an odd goal, and that was away at Southampton. So it all points towards this one being a lot closer than that market would suggest.
Yeah, for sure. Into the Premier League now, where we've got Newcastle hosting Tottenham. This is a game between two pretty attacking sides, isn't it? Newcastle, Tottenham, a lot of goals in their games. Total goal line here is what we're looking at, and it is high. 3.75 is the goal line here. So if you're going lower, you want 3 or fewer goals. Higher would be 4 or more. Are we going higher or lower? 3, 2, 1.
I can't believe that.
You led us down the path.
Yeah.
And no one was at home.
Dan.
Yes.
Goals.
I mean, like you mentioned, these two teams are attacking. Like, what was it, the last 6 between these teams? You can't look at those results and go, oh yeah, this is going to be like a 0-0 or a low-scoring affair, right?
Yeah.
You've got 4-1, 6-1, 2-1, 5-1, 3-2, 2-2.
Yeah.
Goals. Both teams scored 65 league goals this season. I don't really know why I said that. Doesn't really mean anything. It's relatively high compared to the rest of the teams. I look at this game and immediately think both teams score. So that's already 2 in the bag. Yeah, I don't know. You can see the smile on my face just talking about it. Like, history suggests this will be a goal fest, and I think it will continue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's certainly one that does not look like it's going to be a 0-0 or a very tight and cagey affair. And therefore, I'm happier to go with the fact that we're likely to go higher rather than lower. So this is less jeopardy, I think, by going higher. Looking at Newcastle across the season, they are the side to follow for goals. 18 of their 31 games across all venues in the Premier League have seen over 3.5 goals. So we used to generally talk about that over 2.5 goal line, and this season it's just gone up higher. They're seeing over 3.5 goals in 58% of their games this season across all venues. That's 8 of 16 at home, including 5 of the last 7. Tottenham is 14 of 31 across all venues, so 45%, and 8 of 15 away from home, 53% over these lines, which is madness. 5 of the last 8 as well. And the goals averages 3.69 Newcastle, 3.67 Spurs. They are very similarly matched teams, I think, as far as the goals metrics are concerned. So absolutely higher has to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this part of me does wonder with Newcastle if we're starting to see a little bit of a tail off in terms of the kind of craziness of their games. But at the same time, I think when these two teams meet, it's really hard to see anything other than them going toe to toe. And even though it is a high goal line, the difference basically is 1 goal from it being like a 2-point something. So it's I mean, if it was 4.1, then I'd probably be looking to go lower. But,
absolutely.
4 or more doesn't seem beyond the realms of possibility whatsoever.
I'd be shocked if it was less than 2 goals in this game. Therefore, you're looking at a marginal loss on it. However, they could be 6, 7.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be nice.
Tricky one, this one. Bournemouth hosting Manchester United. And we're looking at the supremacy market again. And there isn't really a favourite.
No.
I mean, there is
slight.
just
Slight.
Bournemouth. Well, Bournemouth are the favourites, but if you're selling the supremacy, you're selling at 0.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
like it's as marginal as it can be. But this means that the midpoint here is 0.1. So this is a pure like higher is a Bournemouth win, lower is United or draw. Even though it's a 0.1, so like it's very, very marginal indeed, which means I think I've got an idea of how we're all going to go. But let's see, who knows? So Bournemouth over United, lower here would be United or draw, higher is a Bournemouth win. 3, 2, 1.
God, I very nearly put the wrong one up then. It looks like you have, Jack.
So after sitting here a couple of weeks ago and being like, United are going to beat Brentford, they're back, they're one of the best teams in the world.
Let's just play that clip again. I don't think I said that. It was mainly a fade on Brentford at the time, which was very, very wrong. I'll be honest enough to say that.
You don't have to go back over all.
Yeah, no, it's twice now. 2 weeks running you brought this
I'll
up.
never let you forget.
We keep going to this market.
Yeah.
I had to toss a coin for this one. I'll be honest. This is a really hard one to call in it, but I just had to go with my gut really more than stats because stats don't make any sense for Man United this season.
Agree.
Because you look at the eye test as well. You look at it, and their games are a shambles. It's chaotic. It's a mess.
Yeah.
And you think, well, they're going to get hammered, and then they hang on, and they go and score, and you think, well, how are you supposed? You couldn't even read a game in play with them. Yeah. There's nothing there that you can go, oh yeah, right. That's a trend. That's how it works. So I just have a gut feeling about this game away at Bournemouth, Saturday tea time.
Yeah.
Of this being a Manchester United disaster class. This echoes way back at the start of Erik ten Hag's reign, that debacle against Brentford. I could see a potential unravelling of a similar situation in this one. Of course, Man United, I think they're out of that race for the top 4 or 5. They have got the FA Cup semi-final next weekend to look at. I wonder how the players will react to that. Is that a case of being a little bit kind of one eye on that? We'll have to wait and see. And Bournemouth, there's decent incentives. They've obviously got the opportunity of 4th successive Premier League home win. That's the first time that have done that. They've got the chance for a first double, having absolutely smashed Manchester United at Old Trafford. So they've got the first chance of a double over them there as well. So that's something to go for. And I think Iriola's also said, we've got a chance of a top 10 finish possibly. And that would be a feather in his cap, really, I think, to do that. So I think the incentives are more with Bournemouth. And such a tight line, but I'm going to go with a Bournemouth win.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if I had to back one of Bournemouth or United to win this game, I would back Bournemouth. But it's just the draw. What do I think the most likely scoreline is? It's probably either a draw or a Bournemouth win. But when you've got the draw on side and it's so marginal, I still don't think United are a good side. I really don't. And I think that they will, again in this game, concede loads of chances within the game. But that doesn't mean they can't hurt Bournemouth. And it's just got to be a numbers play for me where of the two sides of the coin, which was more likely to fall on United or draw Bournemouth. I think it's United or draw, even though if Bournemouth win this game 3-0, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised either. Bournemouth the favourites here just because they're the home side, right? And their home form of late, as you mentioned, has been okay. A few question marks around the quality of their opponents. But then, there's loads of question marks around the quality of Man United. There we go. They lost against all of the top 6 sides, I think, so far this season, apart from a draw against Villa, including 4-0 versus Liverpool, 4-0 versus Arsenal. United aren't great on the road either, but I'm kind of agreeing with your point there that I think United can hurt Bournemouth. They do have the quality to do that. Whether or not they do it is a different story. Get the draw on side. I don't know. I think Man United win here, so I'm pretty happy with that.
You think United win?
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm going for Bournemouth.
You're
going for the United win. You got the draw.
They call that a Jack Wright, don't they?
Do they? Yeah. Well, it ends in disaster next week.
Same game now. We're looking at total goal minutes. It's the total cumulative amount of minutes that goals are scored in within the game. And 179.5 is the midpoint here with Spread X. So a high scoring game expected. We saw what happened Manchester United, obviously, at Chelsea, to a lesser degree against Liverpool as well. Goals coming fairly late in the game. So 179.5. Higher is loads of goals and late goals. Lower is fewer goals and early goals. 3, 2, 1.
I can't help myself, honestly.
Is it one of those things? You know how sometimes with stuff like this, you know in your head, you know that you're going to go lower, and then you just can't help yourself, and eventually you just go like, actually, no, I'm going to change.
But isn't that like one of the symptoms of insanity? Is like doing something and it's wrong, and then just keep doing it, keep doing it. Like, I mean, you kind of took all my rationale in the build-up to this.
Thank you so much.
Because you're so forward-thinking.
Thank you.
Liverpool makes up 2 90-plus goals against Chelsea, makes up on its own, forgetting all the other goals in that game.
Yeah.
And 2 90-plus goals against Brentford, as in not Man United scoring, but in that game.
Is there not, like, this is what I always find difficult with like betting trends. Like, just if that happens, do you think the United games are just forevermore going to be like?
No, I definitely don't.
Like, I would say that if you've got like recent high-scoring games, and if you looked, unless the XG in those games is like 8, which I don't think it was.
No.
Then, you know, the variance is going to come and bite you on the backside.
Yeah, I think eventually you're not wrong. But we're talking about Ten Hag's Man United here, who are conceding millions of chances. Bournemouth could easily score 3 here, and as I said, I think Man United are going to win. So I'm assuming that Man United score 2. This could be any score, and I know that's a ridiculous thing to say because that's the case with any game. But United could win this 3-0, or it could be 4-3 Bournemouth. Like it's Ten Hag's Man United. It's complete carnage, and the last 3 or 4 United games imply that although 179.5 is high, it probably isn't that high when you think Man United are involved.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's very high, even if it was like 7 aside.
What about Man United in 7 aside?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. They'll probably be a bit tighter, I reckon.
I'd love to know what the goal line would be. Anyway, we're going lower.
We are.
What's your thinking there?
Same as yours. No, I think you did kind of say it really that this isn't really. If you base this on stats, you probably have to go higher because of the amount of 90-plus goals that there have been. But that run can't. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It's not going to continue forever and a day. And it just feels to me, again, you paint a picture of a game in your head, and I just got a feeling this one's going to be a bit scruffy. It's kind of how I see it, and I can see, as we've talked about, I think Bournemouth edge it, and it'll be a bit of a closer game than a carnage 4-3 sort of thing. So there's nothing really stat-wise that I can do to back it up, other than I think that the run probably will end. Well, it will end at some point in time. I'm going to take it to end here. In a game that I think Bournemouth are going to win because United might have their priorities elsewhere. Yeah, it just, as I said earlier, like I do think it's a bit of a trap sometimes to get too lured in to like a couple of high-scoring games, and therefore the next one's going to be high-scoring as well. Although we do know that United concede a ridiculous amount of shots. If we look at the kind of generally. Like I've had away games recently, like the one at Brentford, which was 1-1, where I know both goals came very late. But I think you just look at the kind of the amount of goals rather than necessarily the late goals within those. I don't know. And then Bournemouth, even though, especially early in the season under Argyle, they were a side whose games were very high scoring. Their last 2 have had 1-3. I don't know. It feels like they've lost a little bit of their attacking output. It feels like the Solanke hot streak has slowed down a little bit. Yeah. I think also you look at them United games, there's a good few penalties in there as well. Yeah. So true. Again, that's something else which is not a sustainable source of. It's interesting you say that. Okay. So I think we're going to talk about that a bit later as well, possibly. Possibly so. An argument to your case is that both sides kind of have more focus on second half goals. You've obviously touched on it, but 19 of United's 24 goals conceded in the second half, and Bournemouth have scored a league low 5 goals in the first half in the Premier League at home. So, it's a very, very high line, and I think it's worth attacking on my point of view. The goals line with SpreadX, though, if you do think it's going to be cagey, is almost identical to Newcastle Spurs. So there could be some juice in that for you if you fancy yourself. Thanks so much. Lovely. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Isn't it? Liverpool Crystal Palace next up. We're looking at shirt numbers. I haven't done shirts for a while. No, it's one of my favourites. Why did you drop shirts? I just like to mix it up. Going topless for a while. We've got our tops back on here. Shirt numbers, the total amount of numbers on the back of the scorer's shirts is this one. So you add them all together. And this is what it makes up. 51 is the midpoint here with Sporting Index. 49 to sell, 53 to buy. Are we going higher or lower? 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Sweep.
Who put this in here? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, I'll take this first.
Yeah, go for
I
it.
meant to have the Liverpool squad numbers here, but I now have them now. I feel like Liverpool, of most teams, have like fairly predictable goal scorers, right?
Yep.
So you have Mohamed Salah, 11. You have, at the moment, Darwin Núñez, 9. Luis Diaz, 7. Yes, Gakpo and Jota sometimes come in, but at the moment, those three are the three starting players.
Yep.
Alexis McAllister, 10. Dominic Szoboszlai, 8.
Quite
So
low.
these are all, I would say they're their 5 main goal threats, and the highest number we've got is 11.
Yeah.
So this could, I mean, I think Liverpool win this and win this well. They could win this game 4-0, and those four players could score and we'd still be under. Obviously, Conor Bradley playing a right back, 84.
Yeah.
If he scores, fair play, fair play to you. And he is a goal threat as well, to be fair. Only 1 goal in his 9 appearances so far, but he's a player at Bolton that used to consistently get into those positions in advanced areas and shoot. So, got to play the averages here. I think if you go over here, Dan, then it just got to mean that you love goals, and you haven't. So
Yeah, I do
says
love
a lot.
goals. So it was hard for me to put lower here. And I know Jack has got something to say to align with your 4 goals
Nice.
here, but so that I don't steal that, the only thing I have to say is to jump on the Conor Bradley thing. If you look at his heat maps this season, no, he is getting forward quite a lot. He's averaging over a shot per game.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is a big worry, but it could be a slight worry that's the reason why it's comes. But he's only scored once this season. Quansah as well, if he plays. I'm not sure whether he will or not. 78, so he has the potential to make this up on his own.
He doesn't.
Not prolific, is he?
No.
No, he's
Prolific
not.
passer.
Yeah,
Loves a pass.
he does.
Yeah.
And a mistake against United.
So
Yeah.
sometimes not accurate.
Yeah, sometimes not accurate. But yeah, I guess just it has to be in the back of your head in this market that there are players on the field that can make this up comfortably on their own. But obviously, I agree that the chances are quite low. And yeah, I think lower comes in easy here.
You
Jack?
can steal my line if you want.
No, you go for it.
I said earlier this could be 5-0 and I'd still go lower. If they told me the score's 5-0, I'd still go lower.
That's big.
Because I don't think, on average, the goal scorers will have, therefore they'd need to have higher than a 10 shirt average. Now, that could all be Mo Salah. But, so how do you go about attacking the shirt number market? For me, you go, who's going to win? Liverpool. What's the score going to be? My gut shot would be 3-1. That's what I thought. I think they might concede. They have done quite a lot. Who's going to score
Love
for
it.
Crystal Palace? Eze is the obvious chance. Number 10.
Perfect.
Possibly Mateta, number 14. Not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And then, as you then said, you've gone through the Liverpool shirt numbers, and it's very rare that in a Premier League side or any squad these days, you've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as your main forward players.
Didn't even realise it in my head.
There you go. Because you sort of went. Yeah.
I did it positionally,
You
didn't
did, yeah.
But from the front.
Yeah. So, as I said, that for me means that this has got to probably, unless there's an outlier that scores and you can't back this betting on that, random happens. So, yeah, for me, there'd have to be probably a minimum of 5 goals for this to be a higher, possibly even 6.
What would be your face when the team comes out and it's Doak, Dan's, Musialowski?
Quickly cash out.
Looking now at the penultimate game we're going to cover in this week's episode of Higher or Lower. Arsenal hosting Aston Villa. With Sporting Index, Arsenal unsurprisingly the favourites here in the supremacy market. 1.75 is the midpoint, so higher is Arsenal to win by 2 or more. Lower is either an Arsenal win by a solitary goal, a draw, or Villa victory. 3, 2, 1. Guys, we're all agreeing everywhere here. What is going on?
Yeah.
I went first last time. Jack, you can take us away here.
Okay. I fancy Arsenal to win 2-0.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think as well. I just did edge of the box, and that's exactly what I said.
Is it?
Yeah.
There we are.
Dan?
Yeah, 2-0. Like,
Come on, we've got it on our...
I just think, like, although there was carnage and loads of goals in Villa's last game, I think the Arsenal defence is so good that Villa won't score here. And seeing Arsenal score 2 is like, yeah, well, of course.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually don't have too many stats to go over. I gut shot Arsenal win 2-0 too. 2-0 2. So 1.75 is a bit scary, but as someone who loves goals, I'll take it on.
It could be 1.1, 1.9, couldn't it? It's the same end result, really. So, yeah, and I think the key element of this is Arsenal want to win it. They want to get out. They've got two priorities: to win the game and to make sure everyone stays fit, because obviously you've got a massive game against Bayern Munich in Munich coming up next week. And get out of town.
I think so.
Get out of town. Also, Douglas Luiz is suspended for this.
He is.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Both in terms of attacking standpoint and a defensive standpoint. Also, we're recording this on Thursday at about 10:30, and Aston Villa have to play Lille tonight, and Arsenal play on Tuesday. So there is a significant advantage there in terms of legs for Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal concede. And if I don't think Arsenal concede, that means if I'm going to go lower, it has to go 1-0 Arsenal, which is probably like a 7-1 shot. So it's pretty easy to go higher. Even though when I first saw this line, I was a bit like, wow.
Yeah.
Villa are a big price in the fixed odds market as well.
Yeah,
massive. Which I actually weirdly
I know what you're saying.
probably wouldn't put you off.
Yeah.
But I think on the balance probabilities for this game, I think we're going over. Time of first goal is the next market we're looking at here. So this is the first goal. The minute the first goal is scored in. 29 to sell with Sporting Index, 32 to buy, so 30.5. So I think the first goal will be scored within the first half an hour. You're going lower. 30 minutes through to the end of the game would be higher. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, a bit of disagreement.
On my own.
Yeah.
Early goal. I just feel that I kind of touched on it a little while ago, that Arsenal will want to go and get the job done, look to get it done early. Yes, they've got the better recovery time. The thing is, they've got like a 2-day turnaround. This game's obviously on a Sunday, haven't it? They've got a couple of days recovery before then that massive game against Bayern Munich. So, and say Villa have been weak defensively in recent games. Over their last 7 games, their expected goals conceded is only better than Man United. They're the top 2 as far as, or the worst 2 as far as expected goals conceded. They're averaging 2.12 expected goals conceded over those games, and they've allowed an average of 3.29 big chances across those as well. So Arsenal certainly have the personnel to take advantage of that. And also, as I said, they want to get the job done. You look at the recent games, they've at home have just been early goals. 24, 19, 18, 14, 11, 13 are the last 6 there, so all under the line that we're looking at here. Then there was a 53 and then a 6. So 15 games at home in the league this season. The average first goal time is 26.4.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Fair enough.
Dan,
Paddle drop.
Dan, how are you going to come back to that?
Well, the main line for me here is that obviously we've spoken about Arsenal's defence is really good, but they've conceded the fewest goals. It's not really a surprise actually in the first half an hour of any team with 8. But in second is Aston Villa with 10. So I just think the opposite to what you said. But I mean I agree that they're going to want to come out and get it done as early as possible. I don't know if they will, to be honest. I think we might be waiting for the second half for the first goal.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Even though I think Arsenal will cover that -1, I think we've got to give Villa some credit here. And also, if my theory about legs and about them playing on Thursday night is true, then that should only really impact the game as it kind of goes on, as it goes later. So I always want to go higher in this market. I just think the games are often way more cagey in opening stages than people normally think. And I think I'd love to put some numbers to this, but the Premier League in particular just feels like a massive second half league, where often games are low scoring in the first half and then really kind of unravel in the second. So yeah, it'll be a good tactical matchup this with Emery and Arteta. Obviously not high scoring in the reverse either. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think cagey to start and then Arsenal to ease clear later on. Finally, is it Monday Night Football? I think it might be. Chelsea hosting Everton. Everton after their 2-point deduction. Coming here with something to prove. Last time they had a deduction, they started playing pretty well. So maybe that will cause Chelsea some concerns. Chelsea obviously not having a great season, but one person who is Cole Palmer. Or Cold Palmer, as I seemingly always see. Don't understand it, but fair play. He is, it's his goal minutes. He scored a lot of goals this season already. 25.5 is the midpoint here with Sporting Index. 24 to sell, 27 to buy. This is the total amount of minutes of Cole Palmer goals within the game. Higher or lower? 3, 2, 1. obviously. So,
I thought you had higher up then. No, you don't.
So-
Okay, fine.
so I'm feeling quite happy about last week.
Yeah, mate, you're amazing at it. You're so good.
What was that?
I'm fuming. Last week, the
last
goal
week,
minutes
He
came
put
in.
in Salah. It was a high one. He thought we were going to go lower. We all went higher.
As soon as the penalty was given.
Yeah.
Annoyingly though, if this makes you feel better, I'd backed Alexis McAllister 2 or more shots. And if Salah obviously wasn't on the pitch, then Alexis would have taken the pen and he got one.
That's a
So-
shame.
Know that feeling.
Yeah.
So it was like, what do I care about more, a winner or getting one over Dan? Getting one over Dan.
Yeah, for sure. For God's sake. But I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because that is basically the same reason why I'm going higher again. Is the penalty factor,
Okay.
which probably comes as no
But
surprise.
is it not like he's scored 8 penalties this season,
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
2 of them came in one game against United. He wasn't even on pen to start the season, so we saw, I think, Sterling miss at least one.
Yeah.
They've had 11.
I got to stop getting pens sooner, man.
Yeah, haven't they? Yeah, really.
Like, I would, if this comes down to betting on whether or not Chelsea get a penalty, then that is a significant reason why I'm going lower.
Yeah.
And who's the ref?
Who is it?
Your man, Paul Tierney.
Paul.
Yeah.
Great.
So you know, that's sorted.
Yeah. And also, if they get a penalty in the first 24 minutes, they're still fine.
Yeah, that is true. But Everton have given away second most amount of penalties this season with 7, and all 7 goal.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Why?
The fact that they've all 7 have been scored against them.
Yeah.
Again, is that not a reason to think that, someone's going to miss one soon? isn't it?
Doesn't bode well for the Euros, does it?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, forget that.
Yeah.
They're gonna win the
What a
Euros.
rubbish stat.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually quite like this. It's a lot lower than Salah
Yeah.
last week, and it's almost the same rationale. Like he's Chelsea's top scorer. He takes penalties. He's the fixed odds favourite to score any time. Feels like it makes sense to me.
It makes sense to Dan. Does it make sense to you?
No, I think you've got to go lower and say a large proportion of his goals have been penalties. We'll cover that there. So, unsustainable once again.
Obviously.
And I just think Everton are going to look to make this very, very tricky. I say, and what Chelsea are you going to get? You just don't know. So they were seconds away from absolute disaster against Manchester United and then suddenly turned it around into a win. And the opposite happened against Sheffield United last time out. So where, of course, Cole Palmer did not score.
Yeah.
Against Sheffield United, the worst defence in the league.
True.
Oh, he's on a drought. But I just say I feel Everton have got a lot to prove here, and it's a game that they're going to go to and look to be solid, build into the game, and make it very tough. And they've got to the point now where Cole Palmer clearly is that player. He's been the most consistent player for Chelsea. He's going to be the target to nullify, and we know that Sean Dyche can set his sides up to do just that.
I was sent a lovely photo last weekend of Dan holding the programme from Brighton. The Brighton game with a nice...
Yeah.
Who was it on the front?
I think it was Van Hecker, wasn't it?
Yeah. And when I sent it, I initially assumed when I sent it that it was going to be Solly Marsh.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
I was thinking, why would Solly Marsh be on the front of a Brighton programme now when he's not featuring for a long time?
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned the Solly Marsh for a while. That's a good way of bringing it
Cole,
up.
is Cole Palmer going to be the next Solly Marsh?
Well, he's like on the back of my curse. He's on the score now.
That's it.
Oh,
Doesn't go to the
I hope
Euros.
not.
Everyone in a couple of years is like, do you remember when Cole Palmer had that unbelievable start at Chelsea?
And
I don't think so. I think he's quality, and I really like him. But it's a really high line for a player that, even though he's scoring a lot of goals, he doesn't score many from open play. He scored, I think, 7 from open play this season. You know, we backed Salah. Like Salah last week against a team who can see the most shots in basically the world was only 10 minutes higher than Cole Palmer at home to an Everton side who are, even at their worst, are dogged.
Yeah.
I can't be having that. I think this is but this would be my strongest lower, albeit it's not a market I'm mad keen on generally selling because it gets pretty ugly quite quickly.
I think I'm not worried about the time part of this, which I know is a ridiculous thing to say because it's a time-based market. But I think it's going to be quite tight between these two teams for half an hour. So it's basically just, does Cole Palmer score in the last 60 minutes of this game? And I'm obviously going for
2-0 the reverse, wasn't it? What I would say about Palmer is he's likely to get the 90.
Yeah.
That's the one concern for me.
That's the one positive for you, for Dan's bet. Right. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this episode of Higher or Lower, brought to you by Sporting Index and SpreadX. Click on the link below for a new customer offer. You can find the T's and C's and all the details within that link. If you haven't got an account already, make sure you do check it out. We've got the football, we've got the golf, we've got the racing. It's just, I'm actually feeling a bit anxious about the whole weekend because there's just so much going on. I don't know how I'm going to watch it all.
We got the vibes.
What, of me being anxious?
No.
Right, fine.
Sorry.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Do remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit. Thank you very much to Dan. Thank you very much to Jack for sharing their tips, thoughts and insight. We'll be back again next week to look ahead to the weekend's fixtures again and have probably a chat about how we got on this week and about Cole Palmer and his double penalties that both came in the 10th minute. But in the meantime, enjoy all the sport. Have a great weekend and please do ensure that you're gambling responsibly.